Yo, yo, what's crack-a-lackin'? Watch list going into December 10th. Let's get it rolling. Let's start off with where my frustration stemmed from again this morning. So I was looking for that gap up blowout on Tesla and the DXYZ basket. Was a main watch from the watch list last night. And what did we get? We got that 70s open. So not the 80, 90 that I was looking for. And then, so market opens right here. Goes sideways, sideways. No real reason. Like, you don't have a risk level. And sure, you could, hindsight, you could short 71, risking 75, but there's no reason why 75 doesn't break. And then if I take this early entry, getting stopped out through 75, but then that 75 move is the one I wanted to be reacting to. So I didn't take the pre-market or entry right off the open, and this thing goes straight from 70 down to 60, halts, goes straight from 60 down to 50, and that entire move that I was looking for happened in about 10 minutes. So I ended up missing that trade. What's up, Chris? How's it going? Tesla, on the other hand, gave a very long time for an entry, and because of DXYZ, I wrote off the rest of the basket and didn't take this like TSLT, TSLL trade that I typically would, something like 28s. You get a nice 30, 20 cent, 30 cent risk for a multi-dollar linear fade. So nice move on that basket, but that pull kind of frustrated me. Same kind of thing with Palantir. Doesn't look like a whole lot because of the amount of range it had, $10 range. But if you're watching the opening action, you get a pull from 81 straight down to 79. And then these wicks and a reclaim, like this is not typical action. And then once this VWAP exhaust failed, now you get popped versus VWAP. But I ended up missing this one as well. So the larger cap basket I definitely underperformed on, but it is what it is. When these names are going like straight down off the open, I have such a hard time. Like when you get this pull, double bottom, and then the break of the 79.60s, I'm thinking this is going to squeeze out through highs. Once it doesn't, that should be proof that it's staying heavy and failing. But I just didn't trust myself, didn't trust my plans enough on these larger cap names, so ended up missing and underperforming on a day full of opportunity. Soon, same kind of thing, where I was trading it the prior day, and we got the same kind of action here once we got that opening weakness. Starts grinding when dips start getting bought up, but this ended up being a $2 to $3 move. Just tough. This isn't typical intraday setups that I'm used to, so I'm flipping through these charts throughout nightly review to try and create that Rolodex in my head that once I start seeing, a flush, what should it look like? And then you get this VWAP consolidation, what should it look like? Palantir, once it double bottoms and fails to reclaim, what should it look like? And try to put all these charts in my head so I can maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but it starts to compound over a year, 2 years, when you start to see these things over and over again. Amy, this one, same kind of thing. You get that 220 move down to the 170s. That's a 50 cent move. That's a 20% move right off the open in 4 minutes. Is massive. So once it double bottoms and reclaims red to green, reclaims these 190s, I'm not expecting a whole lot. I think, okay, now it's put in its range for the day, and it's just gonna chop around. But no, this bounce through VWAP, it even held prior resistance as support, and ended up going back from the 210s back down to 150. Just monster move. So it is what it is, but there was a lot of opportunity out there today, and I just didn't capitalize too well on it. A couple trades from me. RCAT for that $8 failed follow through on the daily. Started scaling in here. Hard crack, lower highs. This is standard procedure for me. Once low a day doesn't continue to fail, I cover. And then you get this big reclaim, and this is what I'm talking about, where I see all these other ones off their week opens. You get that big bounce back up to highs, where it looks like it's reclaiming, but once it doesn't, then that's a key sign. So we got this big bounce, a lot bigger than I was expecting. I thought this was the bounce and it was going to continue to trickle, but I waited patiently for this 790 failed follow through, joined it versus these 810s over under. It retested it, tested my patience, and then we got that little waterfall, but all in all, wasn't a whole lot of range there. And saddle, I traded this one because on daily we got a massive gap up, a lot bigger than the prior days. So I'm thinking a blow off in the morning. You can see the big volume candle, and you get a push off the open. I like strength off the open. It gives me a lot better risk reward to trade against prior resistance levels. So now we got a push, pull, double top, and then failed follow through, which ended up, it wasn't a hard stop, but I wanted to see the 5 teens start to fail to follow through. And once these couple dips held prior lows that I wanted to see fail, I moved on. We got a hard crack, lower high, and now I'm risking these lower highs. Something like this I didn't want to see reclaim, and it retested it, and then VWAP started to act heavy, so I scaled, covered some, about a third, put it back on, and then moved on with the entire position. And yeah, that was the main trade today, where most of my size was. But still, higher it goes, the better the opportunity is. The EMA is sitting right around 390 right now. The RSI is up at 94. So now this thing up from the $2 breakout up to 550, and the EMA at 390 with a 94 RSI. Everything's kind of shaping up. You get exhaustion gaps, you get volume starting to speed up, you get a sideways consolidation day. So if you get a consolidation breakdown sub 460, then that should lead to fails, but hasn't gone red in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, tomorrow being the 6th day. So that will definitely be a key level to keep an eye on. Golan, what's going on? If possible, can you give your take on PSQH for a first green day bounce? They closed their offering on Thursday last week and took the morning push, added on dips, then sold when it failed the second time below VWAP. Extremely Josh, always coming in with the I like the way you do it. Happy with my trade plan and execution, but want to hear your take. So the first thing I notice is you talking about an offering with it, which once there is an offering in it, I don't trade backside bounces because it is a nail bail trade. So let me see the details on this offering. Okay. Announces an RDO on December 4th. Announces the closing on December 5th. Right there. 8 a.m. was the offering. So you get this big front side move on the 3rd, and the 4th puts out an offering pre-market. So this whole fade range was caused by an offering. Now everybody is bagged on it. So all pops are getting sold into. You can see where it bounced to. It bounced to the next day and never got higher. So anytime that there's an offering on these multi-day runners, I write them off as backside bounces. They very rarely bounce. Some people try to make the argument that it brings more shorts in, more shorts to cover, more shorts to squeeze, etc. But the market is like 80% long. So when you're trying to squeeze those few shorts that are shorting an offering, excuse me. So when you're trying to squeeze that small percentage of shorts, it just doesn't end well. So you've got now paper overhead, you've got more longs bagged overhead. So it just leads to more selling pressure and a lot more limited of a daily bar range. Statistically, I've tracked them. A lot of the ones that fail have news and offerings on the backside that lead to the fade. But outside of that, so that immediately would be a no trade for me on the backside. And then it's also a one day move, not a multi-day move. It tries to bounce a couple times each time. It goes green, it tries to morning spike and fails. So each time it spikes and fails, you're getting those same longs trying to bounce it, and they're getting bagged on each pop as well. So there's too much selling pressure on that. Too many people stuck. QSI, quantum name. I believe I traded this back here. I think. Somewhere around here in the 150s, I think I traded it. Got it. Thank you for that insight. No problem. So this one's in the right space. Qubit, QBTS, all those, they did pull back today. QMCO is actually very green on the day. But these quantum names did pull back. By no means are they dead. These pullbacks are still dips along a bigger picture trend. So if that sector continues to be hot, I like how this one held its breakout level the entire day for, since it broke it at 11:30. So it's held it for like 7-8 hours. So any flat open or flushes, I like dips versus 180s for a trend join for that breakout. It could, like, this is the same daily chart that we've seen working. I keep going back to MVST, but there was another one. I put it on a watch list a week or two ago. I can't remember the name. I'd have to go back and see. But this is the exact same pattern where they're straight up into this breakout level, which typically aren't breakouts that I want to buy. But with longs and predictive longs, when you're buying the front side of the move, it's all about what's working in the current environment. And that is what's working. So when they're straight up into the breakout level off of a multi-day, multi-week consolidation, this is enough support for it lately. And especially with the sector tailwind behind it, I like weak opens for a red to green there. Saddles, definitely still a main watch. Every day that this goes higher, I like it more and more. So I will be looking for a first red day on that. API tested those 640s. It gapped up through it today. Tested it a couple times, but zero follow through. So, boring. GXAI, I wasn't interested in trading it today, but now we've had a multi-day move. Big top wicks each day. Today was gapping over the prior day's resistance, so it acted as support. So far, gapping down here in after hours. So if you can get something like a 450 shove, as long as it's not gapping back over resistance, like as long as it doesn't open at 5, then I'm short bias on pops for a fade back to the 4 EMA, which is sitting sub 3 right now, down the 270s. So this will be a first red day watch. Just running through some scans, making sure I'm not missing any names. So far I'm watching Saddle, GXAI, and QSI. So far top 3. So I'm just running a few scans, make sure I'm not missing anything that I like. Mara is kind of setting up similar to RCAT Daily, where we had this push, breakout and stuff, failed follow through sub 8. If you look at Mara, doing the same kind of thing where you get this breakout, stuff, head and shoulders kind of 24 filled follow through level. I just don't like trading those Bitcoin names because they're so tied to it. Soon had another pullback today, but this thing is just trading so choppy. I kind of want to avoid it at this point. If you recall my comments on it as it was doing this, I was considering it fairly A+ on this gap up, and it's just become so choppy. Maybe I'm in the group of traders that are giving up on it, and then that's when it works. When the crowd comes in and leaves, then it becomes an easy fade, but it hasn't traded the way I like. So I probably avoid that one. CDIO continues higher. Cheapy name. Ideally goes 1+. Just keeps going. Would be nice. Did it go red today? Close 55. Low 54.8. Barely went red. So ideally continues higher. That could be unwatched, not tomorrow, but into the coming days. See this RenB walk up. Daily chart. Somebody's in there. Excuse me. Rivian, I'm not super sure how I feel about this one. You do have volume increasing and candles starting to speed up. 4 EMA right now is sitting 1320. The daily chart range isn't as much, but you're not going to get those 100% moves on stocks of this size. I do like it starting to speed up and candles starting to get bigger. Like maybe starts to fail 1430s and can take advantage of it back down to the 1350s. Like a support breakdown back into prior resistance. Could see that working. If this went another day, I would definitely be interested in it tomorrow. But the way it is now, I don't think I really want to trade it tomorrow. So I probably throw it on a list and just hope it goes higher, um, and then play it by ear from there. So yeah, from what I'm seeing, I think it's going to be Saddle number one, GXAI number two, and QSI get in there where I fit in and let it work. Make some memories. So that's probably my main three, I think. Going into the end of the year, do you offload some positions you have and have ideas for new investments into 2025? The way that I treat my investments, because I'm so young, I have the mentality that if there is a market correction, well, I shouldn't say if, when there is one eventually, they always come around. But I have so many years ahead of me that I think, because I'm not leveraged on anything, everything I buy is cash. So I will be able to ride out that market pullback and little reset, kind of like we even had in 2022 in the SPY, right in here. Like from 480 down to 350 is what is that? 480, 350, 130, 130, 49. That's about 25%. Yeah, it's a bit higher, 25, 26%, I think, if my mental math is correct. But that pullback there in the 25, 26%, that's quite the haircut. And I was invested throughout 2020 and 2021. I did not have an investment account set up during 2020. I was just trying to focus on growing my day trading account. And then once I saw this pullback and the opportunity that it could go from 200 to 400 in the matter of a few months, I didn't want to miss out on that opportunity. So I started buying through here, and invested a full account into it, maxed out one of my tax-free accounts. And then on this pullback, I opened up a second investment account that is taxable. But I started buying through here, where a lot of people are panicking and freaking out in this 25% pullback. So if we were to get a 25, 50% pullback, yes, I would lose unrealized gains, but I'm not going to lose any more than I have in. And I don't see the Americas going anywhere anytime soon. So that's the way I look at it in terms of investments. I'm not looking to sell and reposition. I'm looking to hold my investment accounts for 30, 50 years, and let those dividends grow and let the market do its thing and compound. But I welcome pullbacks, and I have cash that isn't invested, just kind of sitting there waiting to deploy for another opportunity like this. So, yes, does it suck to watch gains disappear? But I also think in the long run, it's like that classic saying of time in the market beats timing the market. So if you're not trying to figure out where to buy and sell and just sit in there, it's worked for how many years? Everyone thought the world was ending in 2008. Everyone thought the world was ending in 2000. Everyone thought the world was ending in 2020. And each time any of those pullbacks, if you weren't leveraged and you were sitting through those, even if you didn't buy, a few years later, you're still up on your positions. So, no, I'm not selling. My trading accounts, I never bag hold. Well, touch wood, I haven't yet. I'm always cutting losses quickly, so I don't have any tax loss positions to take. All of my investments are green. Stuff like I'm in SPY from a sub 400 average. I'm in banks across the board from 2023 levels back in here, 30-ish. I'm in, what's the other one? It's the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. It's a bank we have up here. But I bought this one the same back in March 2023. I've got Verizon just because this thing pays monster dividend, 5% or so. I think my average is right around this 45-ish, but collecting a 5% dividend for every year for the last 4 years. Now up 20% on the position cash wise, even though the position is fairly flat. I have a position in GSBD long term. This is a Goldman Sachs ETF, little derivative, that invests in mid cap companies. But the dividend on this is like 13%, and it's paid that for the last 8 years quarterly. It pays 13% a year, but pays it out quarterly, so at like 3.5% or so every quarter. So the stock, I don't really see much value in. I don't really care what they're doing, but for the last 8 years, they've paid out dividends every quarter. So until that stops, I'm going to continue to hold it. I'm in it from like a 13's average. What else? I have Apple. I have a fairly decent position in Apple. I think I have like a 120, 130 average in Apple. Was buying through here in 2020, 2021 when it was going sideways. Then we got that pullback in 2022. I started scaling in and just letting time in the market work. But this is not parabolic action like it was here. Like this was a lot of time for it to catch up to itself. Looking back at stuff like Meta, probably better names, but hindsight, right? They kind of changed, when they changed their name, everybody kind of ran for the hills because it looked like they were changing their strategy and the market that everyone was invested in for so long. And it went from 400 down to 100. Like, that's just wild. Now it's all the way back up to 600. But yeah, I think my largest holdings are probably Apple and the S&P. And just plan to hold those till 2060 and collect dividends on them, reinvest them as I wish. Cool. Did you guys see Davey Day Trader had the master owner on his stream this morning? I forget his name. Let me see here. Dave Portnoy. Michael Saylor, that guy that owns 400,000 Bitcoins. His analogies. I don't own any crypto. Um, Cody yells at me every time we talk about it because he's tried to get me to buy it for probably since 2019, and I've never bought it, and the thing continues to go up, but I just don't understand it. And he's like, dude, it's just math. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I haven't really put much time into it, but just at face value, I might have a different opinion if I studied it a bit more and put some time into it like I do into stocks. But then hearing Michael Saylor, his analogies of, he's like, if you were to want to invest in the Manhattan, New York real estate market, and it's gone up every year, the 1700s, blah, blah, blah. He's like, at the highs in the 1700s, you would have thought it was expensive. And then the 1800s, it was higher. And then you would have thought that was expensive. And in the 1900s, it's higher. And he's like, 2020 markets for housing, everyone was just buying everything. Housing markets are at all-time highs. And if you bought at the height of COVID, if you don't sell, as long as you hold on, it'll be a lot higher in 100 years. So he's like, that's the same thing with Bitcoin. He's like, you want to be on a winning team and just be in it. Doesn't matter when you buy, as long as you don't sell it. It's like, it just seems like a disaster. There's no process to it. It's just buy. It's worked for him so far. So who's the dumb one, right? He's the one who owns 400,000 Bitcoin. I'm the dumb one here. Any intel with the pullback? Eh? I don't understand. No comprehende. What you mean, Chris? If it's about Bitcoin, I don't have too many thoughts on it. I don't follow Bitcoin that close. I don't even like trading the Bitcoin stocks, to be honest. The last one I traded was MSTR, but that was like, I had to have Bitcoin up to gauge this thing's relative weakness, but I would have traded this whether it was tied to Bitcoin or not. But I don't like trading the Maras and the Riots. I've definitely ran over all of them. Like, Mara, I remember playing the breakout at like $1. Was it in here? I think. Yeah, it was. It's the same setup we go over where you get this volume start to come in. So this is the high it's set. And I'm buying the breakout, it slams on me. I try it again, it slams on me. So then I try it again. Or no, I didn't try it again. And then this was the one that worked. Because I don't like trading them when they gap over the breakout level. And we got it right there. Gapped up over the breakout level. And then look, that's the one that goes. So frustrating. But I was trading Mara, Riot, all at the same time. And I just botched them. This was back, like you had Can. Back here. There was a K one. K something. I can't remember. Yeah, BTC stocks have sympathy or pain. And you're at the mercy of the gap in Bitcoin that trades 24 hours. Like MSTR started disconnecting, going a lot more parabolic than Bitcoin was. Coin, like if you were playing this little pivot day, you get this gap up, not because of the setup was so good, but because Bitcoin was gapping up so much after hours. I hate them. every time I was buying that Mara breakout, Bitcoin gaps down the next day and I have to cut it, and then just to see it higher again in a couple of days, it was just driving me nuts. So I don't really pay too much attention on them. Prefer to just trade other things. I'm exhausted. Man. But, yeah, for anyone tuning in now, I'm looking at Saddle, overextended first red day, GXAI, overextended first red day, QSI, quantum name, sector sympathy for a multi-day breakout. Top 3 going into tomorrow. And that is my watch list for the evening going into December 10th. I'm going to get in where I fit in and make some goddamn memories. And I'm going to enjoy a Reese's peanut butter cup. What do you mean, where do I get that saying? It's proprietary. Yeah. It was from Huddy back in the day. I used to trade with Huddy a bunch. 2019, 2020. And it was a saying he coined where I was super new. I didn't know where to make money, what I was good at. And he's like, dude, just get in where you fit in. Make some memories. And I was like, that's good. And it's stuck ever since, like the last 4 or 5 years. So now I've taken it. Alrighty, thank you guys for stopping by. We'll wrap it up there. Those of you in IU, I will see you in the room tomorrow. And the rest of you, I will catch you for the watch list tomorrow. Peace.